I'm here with Mr. BComp. He and I love debate and stuff. We were talking movies before we stepped into the ring today to kind of get that get out of our system because we're here to talk about some comic matchups. I've picked some comic characters, and these are Peter's matchups. Now, some of them are going to be like, we've seen it. You know, I'm going to start off with a we've seen it matchup, which is currently on our screen, which I'll show you all. But then we are going to move to some of my weirder matchups. But I'm not interested in seeing who's going to win in a fight.
What
we've done that a lot.
I was going to say also some of these I imagine is going to come down to just like personality. And I mean that like in the sense like I don't think you have it in here, but like Batman versus Captain America. It is like considered to be the hallmark fight. Yes. And it usually comes down to, are you a Marvel boy or are you a DC boy?
Well, so this is a big thing with Batman, and his attribute can't just be that he's so brilliant he figured it out ahead of time.
That's what a lot of people would argue is like, you know, and again, what's the stipulation of the fight?
Okay, so I do have a pairing against Batman that I think is more on par than Captain America.
Okay. I can't wait.
And I've also sort of like done these pair. Hey, Senior Shepherd, thank you for the sub. What's up, guys?
Cheers.
Let's go. I have a pairing for Batman that I think is more on par than Captain America for a lot of reasons. Because Captain America also has the whole. Captain America he's a. I want to call him a strategist, but I also
he's a tactician.
He's a tactician. He's not a strategist.
He's the reason like Avengers win fights is because he is one of the most brilliant military minds, you know, in Marvel Universe, arguably. He also, and if I'm gonna make this point to Batman, I know people are gonna get pissed off and they're gonna see where I'm already siding with, and I love Batman, but he also he is genetically enhanced in the sense that he has the super soldier serum in him.
Yeah.
So technically, it's like where Batman is like a peak Olympian, you know, so is Captain America, but he also has just a little bit more.
He's got a little extra juice.
Yeah.
But, and I might be wrong about Captain America's origin story. I'm sure he's had many different variations.
Yeah, it's usually the same.
It's usually the same. Why is he such a peak strategic mind when it comes to military stuff?
I mean,
because he doesn't really like.
He learned it at war. Yeah, that's arguably.
He just learned by doing.
He learned by doing. Yeah. He was always smart to begin with, and then it's like that was applied when he was in World War II, and then kind of coming out of that, he can look at the battlefield and go, "This is how we will win." And there's also he's a leader. He is a leader. He has the ability to like like one of my favorite moments, and they didn't really do it in the Endgame or Infinity War, but in Infinity Gauntlet, there's a scene where it's like Thanos has wiped out everybody, and basically it's just him, Captain America, and his shield. And Thanos, and he's like, what? He's like, you think you're going to beat me, Cap? And he's just like, as long as one person stands against you, no one can beat me. Or no one will win. No, you will never win. And he just ducks a punch, knocks out his shield, and of course he pretty much gets destroyed. But it's that idea that he
never stops fighting.
He never stops fighting. And it is. And it's like, you know.
Batman also never stops fighting, but I don't feel like he wants it as bad.
Well, and that's the problem is like I can get into the psychology of Batman. It's predominantly because that kid.
We can't.
We'll continue more.
We'll continue more. We're already diving into matchups that don't exist.
Taskmaster versus Batman is a good question. I mean, arguably you'd say, well, I'm not going to get into it.
Why?
Because it's just a lot. Every single thing is like it's like such a drawn.
It's a lot. It's all big answers. Okay, so we're going to start off with one that's a very, very obvi matchup, which is Darkseid versus Thanos. Now, we could talk a little bit about like who we think would win in a fight. We can sort of start in that space, but I have some bigger, better questions to go along with it.
Please.
Who do you? So we'll start with the like Darkseid versus Thanos. Okay. Who's got the upper hand?
Darkseid.
Why?
He just does. He's also the OG.
This can't be
no. And I mean that. Okay. In all seriousness, like okay. If you look at it, like I said, I think a lot of these are going to come down to, am I a Marvel fanboy or am I a DC fanboy?
Not in this debate.
No, but I'm just saying, like, a lot of it would normally.
But not on this show.
And full disclosure.
Also, I didn't tell you. We didn't say what the name of the show is today.
What is it?
It's Moderately Aged Ink. It's not the stuff that came out right away,
Okay.
but it's stuff that's fermented for a little bit of time. Moderately aged.
So full disclosure, then it's like I will admit, in the Marvel, DC, the Star Wars, Star Trek, like I'm gonna always tend to side a little bit towards Marvel. It's what I kind of grew up with. I grew up with the X-Men. I now love both equally, pretty much, but there's always going to be, full disclosure, a little bit that leans towards Marvel. Same with Star Trek and Star Wars. I grew up with Star Trek. I love Star Wars, but I grew up thinking Star Trek was the shit. Now, are we allowed to swear on the stream?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Oh, yeah.
I grew up thinking Star Trek was the shit. Then I realized Star Wars was cooler, but then I like, as an adult, Star Trek a little bit more. There's more thematic stuff going on. But that all being said, I like them both very much. So with Darkseid and Thanos, ultimately the real reason is Darkseid... he's kind of the OG. I mean, Thanos is basically ripped off of Darkseid.
I'm talking about their powers.
Well,
their skills,
he also literally has the Omega beams that literally just, it's like these beams that will just track you down and incinerate you. That's the reason Batman died for a period in the 2000s, it was like the mid 2000s, might have been mid 2000s or so.
All right, but I'm going to take Thanos with Infinity Gauntlet.
Oh, well, that doesn't count then. I mean, the Infinity Gauntlet...
It does count.
Well, so here's an interesting thing. At one point, Darkseid actually got his hands on the Infinity Gauntlet, literally said, oh, these are worthless in this universe, and tosses it away. So you can have it.
What was that there?
It was in the JLA, I believe it was JLA Avengers, the crossover. Like Thanos literally gets the Infinity Gauntlet, like Darkseid gets it, he's like, this is worthless, and just tosses it. It'd be powerful in another universe, but not in this one.
That's ridiculous.
I'm just telling you what it is, man.
Okay, but we have to imagine that the Infinity Gauntlet does work. Now, I get that he's got these Omega I-beams. Yeah. But with the Infinity Gauntlet, he controls everything.
Well, if he has that,
existence.
if he has that, yes, he's peak. You can't stop him pretty much. The only thing that's going to stop him is like some of the upper echelons of like the Marvel universe, like Eternity and stuff like that.
Is there a set of like who's stronger, traditionally speaking?
I think most people would generally agree Darkseid would win in a fight if it came down to like a brawl. Most people, I don't, and again, that's just my interpretation. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people who, no, you're full of shit. Keep in mind, at one point, Thanos had a Thanos copter. Like, okay, I'm not kidding when I say that. Like, literally, it's canon. There's a Thanos copter, and they actually made a reference.
And you don't think that would put him over the edge?
Oh, yeah. It's like, literally, it's like yellow helicopter with word Thanos on the side.
He's got the Thanos copter. Well, but here's the thing. Going back to what we were saying with Captain America, I think Darkseid is so powerful, even though he has the war planet that he is on.
Apocalypse. The war world or whatever.
He is so powerful. He has this sort of same issue that a lot of villains run into, which is pride.
Yep.
Which is, I don't think that he is as skilled of a fighter as Thanos is.
He doesn't need to be because he's so much.
He hasn't been in the shit.
Well, he's literally had the entire Justice League, which includes Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Green Lantern, Flash. I mean, you're talking about essentially gods. Yeah. I mean, that's the big difference between Marvel and DC. Ultimately, DC are gods. They put the super in superhuman, whereas Avengers, they've kind of tried to up their power level of late, but ultimately Avengers are just humans. They put the human in superhuman. You know what I mean? And that's the thing is like you're dealing with, like quite literally that gods versus man. And so when you're going up against gods, you need to have someone who's like God tier at that point.
I don't know, man. I think Darkseid's lazy.
He might be, but he has a right to be because he's so much more powerful.
Which leads us to our real question that I want to ask you. Mm-hmm. Which one do you think is the better dad?
They're both pieces of shit.
And you gotta think about like what makes a good parent. Now, I think what makes a good parent is you're preparing your child for the world and the way that the world exists.
I'd say Thanos.
Yeah.
You know why? If you go with the whole, I'm trying to wipe out half the universe. If you're using the MCU version where I'm trying to wipe, not because in the Marvel universe, he wants to wipe out the universe. That's a tribute to death. He's in love with death. He wanted to do that because he was like, I'm in love with you. And what a great gift to give you half the universe dead. If we go with the MCU version, which is like, oh, I'm going to snap out half of the universe because I can make life better for everybody. I would say Thanos. Like he's like, look, if my kid dies, that sucks. Sorry about that. But I'm trying to make the world better. In fact, he even mourns the fact that he had to kill his surrogate daughter, Gamora. He's like, what did it cost you? In tears, everything. But I had to do it to make.
I'm on Thanos' side too. Thanos even in like the MCU space, if you just want to go there, takes the time to teach his kids lessons, understands where they're coming from.
To be completely fair, I have not seen the Darkseid Snyder cut yet. So
whoops. Well, you don't need to. So here's an interesting thing to think about with Darkseid, though.
Okay.
Darkseid, in terms of getting his kin ready for the world, whatever, and you can sort of expand it out. It's like not children of his, but like the creations that he has made.
Well, because he has actual children, I believe.
He does, yeah. But he is, in a very strange way, getting them ready for the world because he constructs the actual worlds that he's getting them ready for. Feels a little cheating.
It's a little bit.
And they have absolute obedience to him. Thanos's kids don't listen.
They don't need to
as well.
He's not trying to. I think we're both in agreement. If we're looking at it from a daddy perspective,
if we're looking at it from an Earth dad perspective.
Also, I hate to say this, but Thanos is also daddy. He's you know what I mean?
Right. But if you're looking at it from an effective parenting strategy, Darkseid's kids actually follow and obey him.
Yeah, but is that
what because their will has been broken and their minds are controlled.
Yeah, see, I mean, even with my kid, man, it's like he needs to obey me to a certain point. You know, he needs to be willing to question authority at a certain point.
Okay. All right. So we're on the Thanos side. Now here's another weird curveball.
There it is.
Which one of these two?
You're right. She did not care about Nebula.
Is a better actor?
Actor?
Better thespian.
Do you mean as like the actual
star?
Again
in a movie.
Oh, Thanos again. You know,
we've
already seen what they look like on the big screen. Arguably, I mean, you have Josh Brolin playing Thanos. I mean, that's some.
No. I don't mean the actors.
I know. I'm just saying, like, but
Thanos
you know, like,
or Darkseid, they get.
But if you're using those interpretations of the characters, like, you know, I would say that Thanos wins that handily again.
No, I'm using all of the canon, so it's like. The animated series Darkseid,
I hate to say, but Darkseid is a little one-dimensional in that regard. You know, he's like, you know, he could be a movie star, but I wouldn't say he's an actor.
If you could give him a parallel,
Tom Cruise. It's Tom Cruise.
Darkseid is.
Darkseid's Tom Cruise.
I think Tom Cruise is a little more emotional range than Darkseid.
Darkseid does have that, but I think he's very one-dimensional. He does what he does. He's a movie star. Whereas if you're talking about an actor. And then that's a little different. We're talking like some Philip Seymour Hoffman right here.
I think Darkseid. I'm trying to think
because here's the thing: Tom Cruise can act. He can act, but he is a movie star first and foremost.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Maybe I'll take it back. Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, Darkseid is an Arnold Schwarzenegger.
It's like he does what he does and he does it well.
He would do great.
One thing and one thing well and great.
Darkseid in Kindergarten Cop.
I'd pay to see that.
Incredible.
I'd pay to see that.
Thanos has, I think, a little bit more emotional range.
Yep, he does.
I think he would take it very seriously. I think he would be a good Ron Perlman.
Yeah, that's cool. You know what? I can go with that. That or Clancy Brown. Clancy Brown. He does. I mean, he's never. I can't think of like right off the top of my head, but he was in Starship Troopers. He's the voice of Mr. Krabs in SpongeBob SquarePants. You know,
yeah, Prayer Pants, SpongeBob Prayer Pants. So listen, I did this as a 2 out of 3 experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Darkseid won the fight, but Thanos
wins the battle.
Better dad, better actor,
yes.
And he can walk away in that experience really proud.
Yeah.
This next matchup, I'm going to call the Immortals matchup. These are all themed. So these are like brawny god villains. These are the Immortals.
I have no idea what's coming up right here. Oh,
Vandal Savage versus Ra's al Ghul.
I hate Vandal Savage.
Really?
I really do.
Straight fight, Vandal Savage, Ra's al
Ghul. I'll just give it to him. I mean, Vandal Savage actually probably would win, to be honest, but I prefer Ra's al Ghul, so I would just pick him over that.
Why do you think Vandal Savage would win?
He's just a fucking caveman who got hit by a meteorite rock, and he's been like immortal now at this point. Whereas like Ra's al Ghul has to like dip himself into like a hot tub every 3 days to kind of keep his age.
But I think that Vandal Savage, I'm going to say Vandal Savage would win.
You would, and I just don't like him.
That's fair. That's not what debating is.
I'm just telling you. I don't
like that answer.
But I'm telling you, he would win. I just don't like him.
Vandal Savage I think out of all the like immortals, apart from somebody like Kang, really used his time well.
Yeah, he learned.
He learned.
He grew.
He trained.
Well,
he made investments.
Well, Ra's al Ghul also was like, hey, I just want to eliminate humankind. I've been at it for the last 300 years and still have not pulled it off.
Yeah, he doesn't have a very good success rate.
Oh, in fact, he's dead now, technically. I think that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Deathstroke just killed him a couple of months ago.
Because Vandal Savage has won.
Yeah.
And then they've had to go back and rewrite time.
Yeah. Yes. Which, what else is new? Yeah, when we lose, we go back in time.
They used him in one of the DC
shorts or the animated
universe.
films. Yeah, I never watched.
No, not the animated film. The Arrowverse.
Oh, okay.
They used Vandal Savage.
Oh, okay.
I think he's a great villain, and sure. I think he would do well in the DCEU.
It's hard to like.
Legends of Tomorrow. Thank you.
Yeah, I would just argue that it's like he doesn't.
What don't you like about him?
Just doesn't have that gravitas. He just doesn't. I mean, like look at Raw. Like that's an outfit. You know, like you're like that's a name.
Disagree.
Also, it's a name. He's like literally one vowel away from like Vandal or Randall Savage.
Look at that. Look at the belt on Vandal.
It's like literally like bad guy, evil man. That's his name. Bad guy, evil man.
I mean, it's a cool coat. He's got accented.
But that's the thing. It's like that could be. But that's just that outfit. There's like different interpretations. So he never has like a solid look. His look always changes. Like Roz is like, oh, he's gonna be wearing a nice 3-piece with a nice little green cape.
Did you see? It's one of the animated movies. I can't remember the name of it. It was Superman gets teleported to the future, and he has to kind of survive. He doesn't have his powers anymore because the sun is now red.
Yeah.
And the only person left alive is Vandal Savage.
No surprise.
Have you seen that?
No, but it sounds awesome.
It's spectacular.
Okay.
He's a totally different person. That's like, I've learned my lesson. I'm just here. Does anyone remember the name of that I'm talking about?
Oh, someone knows. TL Sharpshooter says he's seen that up.
It was was it an episode of the Justice League?
It could have been.
Maybe.
Well, it might have been the first. I've only really watched Justice League Unlimited. I never watched Justice League the first series.
Yeah.
When it was just the core 7. But I did like Unlimited a lot, though. Unlimited was.
Maybe it was a Justice League episode. Okay, now the next question.
All right.
Which one of them would be a better financial investor?
Oh, Vandal.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got, again, you've seen time over a long enough period. You kind of start to see where the peaks and flows. And
I don't feel like Ra's al Ghul's plans are very good. Well, I know you like him.
I can like him, but I don't mean as necessarily he's.
Do you just like his clothes?
No, I like him as a character. You know what I mean? Like, again, he ties because again, Vandal Savage is sort of like a generic DC villain. Ra's al Ghul, it's like no, he's like closely associated with the Batman. You know, one of the best things.
I think you just like him because he's hanging out with Batman.
Why not? Batman's awesome. Again, I mean, I still think Captain America would win, but that doesn't mean I don't think Batman's not awesome. One of the best like comics in the 70s is literally it's Ra's shirtless with Batman shirtless, just wearing the cape, and they're like literally saber fighting. I'm like, this is awesome, and like that's like, oh, that's some storytelling right there. I like Ra's because of that kind of stuff. I like that he calls him the detective, and that Batman always refers to him as the demon. You know what I mean? I like that like his grandson is Damian. You know what I mean? Is a Robin. You know what I mean? Like I like all of that kind of stuff. I like the mythology that comes along with it. Like I hate to say this about Vandal Savage. Like what's his mythology? Hey, I'm a caveman that got hit by a meteor, and I've lived a really long time.
I don't know, man.
What villain am I? Who's my arch villain this week? Oh, it'll be Superman this week.
I think Vandal Savage has bigger wins and more depth to him than Ra's al Ghul.
You may be right, but I don't care. Like,
you don't care.
Literally, like real quick, like in the Conan comics, like that they finally just stopped doing with Marvel.
Oh yeah.
There's like a joke line. I think Jerry Duggan wrote it maybe, where it was like literally like, oh yeah, in one timeline he gets hit by a meteor and lives forever. I'm like, oh, he's Vandal Savage. I was like, it was such like, oh yeah, he's like basically, what if Conan lived forever? I'm like, Conan is cool. Conan living forever is not, you know.
But I think Vandal Savage he's had a lot of different plots over the course of his time.
Yeah.
That have been successful
in
very different ways. There's different strategies.
I agree with you. He'd be a better financial advisor, you know?
Yeah.
Also, he's still alive. Ra's is not. Ra's got taken out by Deathstroke.
The only thing that I won't... Vandal Savage is like powers always just seems sort of like vague.
That's what I'm saying.
That's
what I'm saying. It's sort of like, it's kind of whatever the writer needs it to be. And so that's what I'm saying. Like, hey, we need a villain that's kind of cool and bad, but we don't want to like really go into anything. Okay, well, let's pull Vandal Savage out of the closet. All right, great.
I don't think you're giving him enough credit.
I may not be.
Which one of these two is a better chef?
Ooh. You know what? Probably Vandal, just because Roz has a cadre of chefs and cooks.
He probably hasn't.
Yeah, he hasn't had to cook a meal in forever. I think Vandal would probably is like, hey man, I was a caveman. I had to cook that shit over a fucking fire.
Well, listen, man, it's even though you don't like Vandal Savage, that's 3 in a row. Hey,
look. I will admit my preferences, but I will also, in the full disclosure, I will fight for whatever was right.
I want Ra's al Ghul to do more and to win more.
The problem is if he wins, then humanity's after. His end game is humanity being wiped out. That's his end game. I disagree.
Dr. Doom has won plenty.
But that's not Dr. Doom's end game. He doesn't want to wipe out the planet. He just wants to take over the planet. There's a difference. That's why, and we've seen that. We've seen literally. But
Ra's al Ghul doesn't want to eliminate all.
Yes, he does. He wants to eliminate all humanity. He thinks that humanity is choking the planet and needs to get rid of humanity so that way the Earth can live.
Okay.
So that's what I'm saying. Like his end game isn't like that fun. Doom's end game, like we've seen it before. It's like literally Emperor Doom. I think it was like a Marvel graphic novel from the 80s. Like he wins, and it's like, oh, cool. This sucks. Like I have to take meetings.
Well, speaking of Doctor Doom, now this is where we're going to start getting into Peter's matchups that I think are more worthy of the characters than like Batman versus Captain America. Okay. Doctor Doom, as we're talking about him, versus Brainiac.
Oh, God. What are we debating here?
Well, first of all, because this is my very smart villains bracket.
Yeah.
Who, first of all, is who would win? And not just because one's your favorite.
No. I know. I'm thinking about it right now. You know, Brainiac gets his ass kicked all the time by people who are not.
He does, and he shouldn't.
And by people who
based off of how they've set him up.
Also, by people that are not like of equal intelligence. Like, no offense, like Brainiac is probably way smarter than Superman, and yet Superman beats him all the time. You know what I mean? Doctor Doom is on a par of intelligence with Reed Richards and loses not all of the time.
Right.
You know.
This is sort of like my toss up.
So from the comic point of view, I will say Doctor Doom just because he has both access to science and magic. I'd say that's the big difference.
That was the magic difference was a big thing. You know,
because magic can beat Superman.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing, like what you said about Brainiac, is the way that they have built the character up in his mythos is that like he's absorbed the knowledge from galaxies of places. Yeah. This guy should, all intents and purposes, be unbeatable.
Yep.
And rarely ever does anything.
Well, literally, I just read there was they did a book called Superman 78, which is a continuation of the Christopher Reeves Superman, but it's like basically, this is what if like the Superman films had continued, you know, and the villain in that is Brainiac, and literally Gene Hackman Luthor is able to outsmart him.
Oh, yeah. That doesn't count.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, that kind of tells you, it's again, like, you know.
This is a battle of fierce egos. Thank you.
Yeah.
I will say one of the best storylines that I've seen that's a new storyline of Brainiac is the Injustice 2 storyline.
Oh, yeah. Which is technically not canon.
I know that.
Okay. We'll say the same with Superman
78. There was another Brainiac shrunk all the different cities and civilizations and stuff.
It happens all the time. All the time.
That's just par for the course of the Brainiac
There's a good run in Action Comics, I believe, when Jeff Johns was writing. I think Donner was doing. I guess we're on commercial, or
there's some commercials play, but not us.
Oh, okay.
Subscribers don't have to watch commercials.
Okay, well, then hold that. But I think Jeff Johns was writing. I think maybe it was before Donner came on, because Jeff Johns was actually Richard Donner's assistant way back in the day.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. But anyway, long story short, that's from what I recall, that wasn't too bad of a Brainiac arc. Mm-hmm. But again, like, look, I love Superman. Superman's awesome. Is he the most intelligent character? No, he's about above average intelligence. Obviously, he's not stupid, but he's not like a scientist genius. Like even Spider-Man would arguably be smarter than him, just because Spider-Man, you know, could build web shooters and all that kind of stuff. Superman is
side tangent for you.
Okay.
Because we've been talking about this with Captain America having gained his intelligence from being in the field.
Yeah.
who is smarter, Superman or Captain America as a tactician?
Cap.
But are you just saying that because he doesn't have powers and has to be better?
Because Cap would find a way to beat Superman with the Avengers. Cap could do that, whereas Superman would have to rely on Batman to have to figure that out. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. I mean, I'm being honest. You know, like.
But I'm the thing that I'm throwing out there is if they've both only gained their experience just from fighting. How come?
Because here's the thing. Here's why. Superman doesn't have to worry about anything.
Right.
Cap has to think like, if I run into a bunch of bullets from a Nazis, I'm going to get shot to death. So how do I circumvent that? Superman just like walks up. Hey, let's laser beam some guns.
He hasn't had to like be challenged.
He hasn't been challenged. And that's why.
Now, this is going to be an interesting thing to think about. But which one of these two has the higher SAT score? Not higher intelligence.
No. I know what you mean.
SAT,
math and essay writing.
Standardized testing. Yeah. You've got to do the English portion. Who gets a higher SAT score?
I'm leaning toward Doom, but I don't have a reason why just yet. So I
have a little bit of a reason for Doom.
Please, by all means.
My only thing with Brainiac is that I think Brainiac has a higher IQ. I think he would.
Thank you, Sharpshooter. That's right. He is a journalist, so he'd have to have above average intelligence. Continue. Sorry.
Right. I think Brainiac has a higher IQ, but I think Dr. Doom understands the like street smarts that it comes with like fulfilling the English portion.
Well, we also know he did go to university. We don't know if Brainiac went to university.
He doesn't need to.
But
I think
you have to get into university.
I think
take those
Brainiac
SATs.
would also get some wrong in the math portion. Only because he probably has more advanced mathematics than we do. And they would be like, oh, well, you got that wrong. He's like, actually.
Well, technically the reason Doom is wearing a faceplate because he got some math wrong in that equation.
Right.
You know, so, I mean, you could argue like, the arrogance and the hubris, is also a big problem.
Ungi123 says Brainiac could have just taken the SAT answers from the system.
Yep, that's true too. That's true.
Man.
But I mean, essays though are a little bit harder because essays you have to, and they're
going
to run through that algorithm where they make sure that you're not cheating or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good point though.
I think Brainiac would overthink it. And Doom.
Like I said, I'm leaning towards Doom.
Okay.
But for no reason.
Here's another one. Totally out of left field.
All right.
Who is going to do better as on like Project Runway or making the cut as a fashion designer?
Oh, Doom, 100%. There's no question about that.
I'll throw a curveball.
I'll throw a curveball your way right after that.
Okay. Brainiac, in terms of the sort of like innovations in fashion, has seen more galaxies and worlds and is thinking about design in a way that we have never seen before.
Yeah.
It might be too much for people.
Okay, so keep in mind, yes, he has seen the world and the worlds. Doom has literally gone to hell. He has gone to different dimensions. You know what I mean? So when you talk about like, it's like at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, Earth and the galaxies, like, yeah, there's a lot of cool designs. That doesn't compare to when you go to fucking limbo or whatever in between. Plus, on top of that,
wait, why are we thinking that like the limbo spaces even get into clothing?
Because there's like demons and shit like that. And also, keep in mind, this armor is fire. That's one. Two, literally at one point, Doom wore the skin of his girlfriend as an armor.
I think that's a point against him.
I think that's a point for it. It's like you're at this point, you're thinking outside the box, honey.
I would just love to see these two sending their outfits down the runway, describing where their inspirations came from.
It's like, yes, I peeled the skin off my girlfriend and now wearing it as mystical armor.
But what would Heidi Klum say?
So make it work. No, that'd be Ted Gunn. Make it work.
Let me see. Why is this a question? Oh, yeah. Doom was that sick. Yeah. I don't know, man.
I just say, look, even if you just compare, because that's traditional, like Brainiac attire. It's
very functional.
It's him in metal armor, and usually got some kind of weird bandolier, or not bandolier, rather some kind of like tiara that he's wearing, or whatever.
You're saying Dr. Doom would get it because he knows that he's got to have a little bit of flair.
You know why? Because he's an aristocrat.
Oh,
he's a king.
Okay.
He knows what's like. It's all about the image. It's all about that. It's all about the flair. It's all about being grandiose. Whereas Brain is like, I don't care about that stuff. I'm about functionality. I'm about getting this planet, put into a little box, and then putting it up on the shelf.
I think that did it. I think Doom now has a little bit of an upper hand because he's had to appease rich people.
Not even just rich people. Just his own people. He knows like, yeah, if like that. If you want to follow me, you don't come in dressed in like scrubs,
Yeah. Okay, so let me see. I guess Doom won. Doom won all three. All right. Well, next one.
I don't know where any of these are going. By
I know. Next one. This is gonna step into
a good comment, Unji.
Political villain space.
Shit! Here we go.
We have, and I've never seen these two talked about together, and I don't know why. And just because I've never seen it doesn't mean that nobody's done it, but it's something that I think is interesting. Lex Luthor versus Kingpin.
So, politically, who's a better politician?
We're going to get into that. We can go right now. First question, as always, who would win in a fight?
Lex. Well, do you mean fisticuffs? No. Okay, what do you mean? I mean, hold on, because like there's a big difference.
They got a beef.
If it's like they're in the boardroom and they just start going at it, Kingpin's going to win. Kingpin has, that's not fat. That's muscle.
So you're saying the beef, it determines of like their proximity to each other.
Well, it depends on how it's the Superman Batman thing. It's like if Superman and Batman are just in a room like, hey, we need to fight right now. Batman loses. He just gets incinerated by Superman.
But if they had a week to think about it.
Oh, Luthor. I mean, he's got the technology. He's going to put on some power armor and he's going to F him up. The best King can do is like, hey, Elektra, can you try and assassinate this guy? Thanks. Click.
He has the power of the phone.
He does. Literally, that's it. I mean, even like politically, if we're going to get into that in just a second.
Well, we are.
Okay.
We are.
But I'm just saying, like, it depends on the circumstances. I mean, if it's a straight just brawl, Kingpin will mop the floor with Lex Luthor. Not even a question. Like, the dude literally beat the shit out of Daredevil. I mean, granted, Daredevil was on his like last leg, but like that's muscle. That's literal muscle. Yeah. That's not fat. People can misconstrue that. Lex, for all his intelligence, is not a fighter. Now, if he puts on that green power armor, that might be a different story.
Sure.
Kingpin doesn't have anything like that. Kingpin at best has like people like Typhoid Mary or Elektra or any other bodyguards, Bullseye, whatever, and they would do his dirty work for him.
Yeah. Okay. Well, since this is the political arena, it's only these two as candidates. They're running for mayor of New York.
Okay.
Or I guess New
Metropolis.
Yeah, whatever.
New York
that big city. Single mayor, head to head. Who takes it?
So
based off of the way that you've seen people vote in 2023.
Canonically, now we should put this out there. President Luthor was president of the United States. Mm-hmm. Kingpin was mayor of New York.
Right.
If we're talking a straight head-to-head battle, I think Luthor wins simply because he's got more money and he would find a way to rig the vote.
To
outspend.
But you don't think that Kingpin would use his nefarious
he would do
underground to...
No, because here's the thing. There's still a respectability with Lex Luthor that he's managed to. Most people think he's not that bad. He's an entrepreneur. He helps people out. He's a philanthropist, even though he's not. Whereas Kingpin, it's like, no, we all know what he is. He's king. There's a reason he's called Kingpin. He's a mob boss kind of thing. You know what I mean?
So you're thinking in the opposition research, dirt would come up that would make Kingpin not a good candidate.
I think like Luthor's like Bloomberg, and I think Kingpin would be,
Hey, Gnome Pro, thank you for the subscription.
Oh, thanks, buddy.
Thanks for subscribing.
Yeah, Kingpin would rig the election, but I think that Lex would also. I think that he would rig it. Like he would find a way to develop some kind of nanovirus that is able to sneak into the election machines and like also.
Who would not accept the results of the election?
Oh, Lex. I think Kingpin also realizes that if he pushes a little too hard, they're going to start looking into his finances, and he's not that stupid,
Well, all right, I'm going to throw one.
That's
one
just
more.
Me. I mean, again, I could be wrong.
One more thing to debate out there.
He would just bring out Jolly Rancher's Handsome Joe. He just put some Jolly Rancher's
because I get Lex is brilliant. He's a scientist. He's incredibly wealthy.
He also won president. He won president of the United States.
Well, but this is what's bringing me to my next point that we got to debate.
All right.
Kingpin, one of the notorious things about him is he knows his city.
He does know his city.
Oh.
But so does Lex know Metropolis.
I don't think so.
He does. He loves Metropolis. In fact, the biggest thing that pissed him off was that Mr. Man of Steel came in and pushed him off.
I get that he loves Metropolis. I don't think he loves the people. Oh. Kingpin loves the people of New York. He like lives and breathes the New Yorker space. Does that give him any kind of advantage in this head-to-head?
It does, but
if we're in New York,
I don't think it gives him enough of an advantage. I really do think that. I mean, like if you're
because let's do this.
If Lex is running for mayor of New York, I think Kingpin wins. If it's just like, hey, I'm running for Metropolis, you're running for New York, who wins in the final fight? I think if everything being equal, I think Lex wins. I think you can't discount. He's a multi-billionaire essentially. He's essentially evil Bruce Wayne in that regard. Right. He's also a genius level like scientist. He would find a way to rig the machines, whereas Kingpin would have it done like oh, we're transferring the thing, oh, that box fell off the truck, here's another box. That's how like Kingpin would do it, whereas like I said, he would just release a virus or some kind of like code that would like reprogram all the votes to just slide over to his way. You know what I mean?
So really it comes down to like who's gonna cheat
more
better.
Who's gonna cheat better?
Because we had El Poimandres talk about how about new city, new state, both running against each other.
I don't think Kingpin wins anywhere but New York.
I mean,
that's the problem. Is he's so tied to New York?
He is. I think that Kingpin is better at ingratiating himself to the people.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I think Lex is better at cheating.
He's better at cheating. I mean, you're right though in that regard. Like because Kingpin did come up from the bottom,
right?
Whereas Lex has always had wealth at his back.
He doesn't know how to connect with the fellow man.
But also, does he need to? Look at Trump. Trump never needed to connect with the common man. He won,
Okay. So I think in a straight battle, mostly because Lex could cheat better.
Keep in mind, again, I love Kingpin. Like I love him as a character. Like I do.
Now here's an outside one. All right. Who would be better as an artist in like the fine art world? Now here's the big thing. Abstract art, whatever it is you want to do. In the art world, everything is about talk. Your value is only determined based off of like what you say your value is, and somebody else agrees.
I think here's the thing. I think Kingpin appreciates art better.
Yeah, I think he could speak the language a little bit more.
100%. I don't know if that makes him a better artist though, because like there's like a thing. I appreciate music a lot. I could not pick up a guitar to save my life.
The art doesn't matter. They could both make the same exact art. The art world has to deal with like your Kingpin. Story and how you make the deal.
I think Kingpin again, and even if you come down to like just their origins,
Lex would use AI.
That's true. That's a good point. I think that Lex, unfortunately, he doesn't have that connection with the common man. That connection with like what art is. Art. How do you define art? I don't know what it is, but I know it when I see it. Whereas I think like Kingpin would be able to do that. I mean, like I think was even in the TV series that was a big part of him when he met his wife. Was like she was like running an art gallery or something like that, if I recall. For the TV. At least that was
Smallville.
What's up? No, not the Smallville. Kingpin. He was like.
Oh yes, yeah, Kingpin. Yeah.
I just think that he has. Yeah. I think he just has a better appreciation for what beauty is. Even his son is called the Rose. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I think that he has an appreciation for the better things in life. Whereas Lex, he doesn't care about that. It's all about just how can I get more? How can I be the best?
So we've landed on. These are both brilliant politician type figures. Yep. Lex, very smart, very cunning.
Who would cheat
Cheater.
Better? Who would cheat better? Who would cheat better?
Kingpin, man of the people. But that does mean that Lex did win 2 out of 3 in our matchups. Okay.
I'm siding with a lot of DC here for being a Marvel boy. Just putting that out there.
You are?
Yeah, I feel like I am.
Yeah. Well, this next one, this can be both Marvel.
We also didn't get to the fact that shaved head, hair of the month club.
Yeah. That's why I was like, I haven't seen these two next to each other. One of them's just like a more jacked version of the other one.
I would not. Let's put it this way: I would not want to meet Kingpin in a dark alley.
This is a matchup you may have seen, but it is the Regeneration team.
Oh boy!
Wolverine versus Deadpool.
Well, all right, go ahead. Where are we going with this?
Who dies?
Ultimately, probably Wolvie. I hate to say it.
Just because his regeneration isn't as strong?
Well, see, the thing with Wolverine's regeneration
in canon.
Okay, because like
Deadpool's come back from
literally like
nothing.
he's literally it's like, oh well, theoretically they've also regenerated a Wolverine from a single cell, which makes no sense. But
oh, really?
There was like a comic where like literally he gets obliterated and like one piece of blood hits the crystal and it regenerates everything, including his adamantium skeleton, which makes no
doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You know, we've seen Wolverine get like literally incinerated by Sentinel Blast in the future that just leaves the skeleton. He's done. Whereas like Deadpool, it's like, he's gotten like his head cut off and then grown a body from that. You know what I mean? Like I remember we actually, when I worked at Nerdist, we did an episode of Because Science about that. Like, how far could like Deadpool go? We actually had to reach out to the Marvel editors and they're like, yeah, actually, whatever portion of the body, so like if he gets split 50-50, whatever portion of the body has more mass is where the rest of the body would grow from. And so it would literally just regrow the rest of the half of the body that it needs. I think that Deadpool wins. The other thing with Wolverine is his his regenerative powers are actually limited by his adamantium skeleton. While it does give him like adamantium protection, he can't break his bones. It's a foreign object in his body that his body is constantly having to like work overtime.
But that's true about the cancer in Wade Wilson's body.
Yes, but not the same. Not the same. Like it's like literally when he lost his adamantium, he got it ripped out of him.
Yeah.
There's like literally, I think it was the Adam Kubert, Larry Hama stuff, and it was like around like.
He started feeling better?
No, he actually started regressing and became more bestial, actually. But at one point, like he's running, gets run over by a semi, and 2 seconds later is up and back in full sprint because his body regenerated that fast.
Oh, so it slows down his regeneration.
Yeah, it slows down. It puts it actually into the negative, not negative, but it puts it into a minus.
Now, not even going for the like the ultimate kill, they're not getting back up. Who is a better fighter between these two?
Oh, I'd say Wolverine.
Yeah.
I think Deadpool gets away with what he gets away with because he is essentially like not immortal, but like he can just regenerate. So he doesn't really.
So he's lazy about it?
I think so. I mean, he's like, and he also trying to be cutesy poo. He's like, hey, look at me. I'm going to kill this person with a water gun. Haha. Wolverine's like, fuck that shit,
Yeah. I mean,
I'm just saying, like, I think that. I mean, also, again, if we want to get into like the sort of the age question, it's like Wolverine's been around since what, the 1800s, essentially.
Okay, so that's
it's again.
That's not always the canon, though.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe it might have been like I think it's like late 1800s is when he was born. He was born James Howlett, and eventually, like I said, his aging process is slowed down because of his regeneration, and then he gets the adamantium skeleton, when he gets with Weapon X and all that. But yeah, he's been in a warrior or a fighter for decades.
So he's been training longer.
Just he's been in more brawls. I mean, that's the thing is he's also like he's the guy who's like, I'm going to get into fisticuffs in this bar, whereas Wade probably wouldn't do that.
Right. Okay.
Wade's just more of an assassin.
Well, then let's give it to Wolverine. Because
that's true
we're
too.
not talking about the regeneration thing.
Honestly, all of this thing, and TL Sharpshooter put up a really good point. Like all of this comes down to who's writing the book at the time.
We're writing the book.
Oh, we're writing the book
now.
Yeah.
All right. Now, this may seem like it's obvious, but I don't want people to go with the obvious answer. Who has the better Netflix comedy special?
I'm not a big fan. Well, depends on who's writing Deadpool. It depends on who's writing Deadpool. You know what I mean? If it's someone like your Jerry Duggans or your Joe Kellys, he's definitely, you want him up there on that stage.
Now, Deadpool does a lot of situational comedy.
He does do a lot of
but can it translate to just talking in the microphone?
Does it also does that shtick get old? Because a lot of it is like him turning to the camera and winking at the camera, whereas that doesn't work when you're doing a stand-up.
I see Wolverine. Who's that old stand-up comic guy? He was in he always had a thing of whiskey and a cigar in his hand.
Oh, well, not Louis Black. Tater Salad guy.
Yeah.
What's his name? Tater Salad.
I see him doing a drier version of that.
Wolverine doing that. Yeah. I see Wolverine as
Ron White. Yeah,
I was gonna say you're Nick Offerman, kind of style.
Sipping whiskey. A lot of dry jokes, a lot of really dark humor.
Mm-hmm.
And I see Deadpool being maybe way too high energy.
Yeah.
Because he's not like
but that's the
popping people's heads off and stuff. He'd
be the kind of guy who would just pop his head off as a joke. You're like, whoa!
He would do a superhero version of old Jim Carrey stand-up act.
Which, to be fair, I would pay money for old Jim Carrey. Sure. Ace Ventura 3, come on, man.
But who does better in 2023? They come out with those two comedy specials.
I would say probably Deadpool. I think Deadpool's self-aware enough that he would. Whereas like Wolverine, I don't think he'd be problematic or anything like that. But I think he's just a little too behind the times. Whereas I think Deadpool is like self-aware enough that he's like, hey, we got to grow with the times. We will see though with the Wolverine Deadpool movie coming out next. I think because Hugh Jackman's training right now. I don't know. We'll see who's funnier.
Who gets canceled first?
Deadpool.
Yeah.
He's self-aware, but he would say something stupid, and just get canceled. Wolverine, I think, is Wolverine.
Fair.
That's me.
Okay. That's
a good question. Who has the better aristocrats joke?
I think Deadpool has the better aristocrat jokes. I think Wolverine has the better delivery.
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
I think he just says one word.
I think Deadpool's funnier. Like, he probably has funnier jokes, but I think Wolverine's got the better presence.
That's what I mean.
Like, I wouldn't like Deadpool. Like, it's like his shtick would get old to me real quick.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, I could see Wolverine if he was doing, like you said, the tater salad thing. Like, but is he funny? It's like, maybe, I don't know.
I think he'd need a joke writer.
He would. Yes, he would.
But he would do very well.
Pair him up with Gambit. We'll see what they got.
Yeah. Okay. This next, I know, babies. Hello. My dogs are going crazy because they're stuck inside in the rain today. This next one is a duo that I put together a lot, but like, again, I don't see a lot of people matching these two up. This is my chaos villain. Category. Joker versus Carnage.
I'm gonna just be upfront right now. I almost will very rarely, if ever, pick Carnage. I fucking hate that character so much.
Do you really?
I absolutely hate that character so much.
Why?
I don't. And I know they're both homicidal psychopaths, technically.
I don't think Carnage is used very well.
He's probably not, but also I just don't like the idea of literally he's some homicidal maniac who's just like that's just he's edgy and he kills people. It's like, oh, fuck off. It's like, it's like Venom, at least like Joker, like, I'm sorry, Venom, but Joker, it's like, yeah, he's just crazy. He's crazy. I mean, arguably so is Carnage, but like, he's not trying to be edgelord. He's just like, oh, you're just a crazy dude. You're crazy.
So you think Carnage tries to be edgelord too much?
Look again, but I don't even know what the question is. I'm probably going to vote.
Well, the first one is like, who would win in a fight?
Oh, I mean, Carnage would win, probably. I mean, like, honestly, at the end of the day, it's like he's got tentacles that are razors that would just like, okay, you're dead.
Yeah.
Done. Yeah, Joker cut his fucking face off, but it's like he doesn't have any powers per se. He's just crazy, and you don't know which way he's going to go. Carnage, on the other hand, is like, hey, I've got these cool you're dead. I'm going to turn into a blade tornado.
This is the thing with Carnage that I just don't think that he is used very well. He to me is like could have been Marvel's answer to Joker in the Marvel Cinematic.
Sure.
Because the thing that they have that goes well together is that just like lust for chaos and destruction, walks through the streets, slaughters people.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
wants to watch the world burn.
He will like kill people because it's fun to kill people. Joker won't necessarily kill you because like it's like, hey, what could happen? I could not. At least there's like, you don't know what's going to happen. He is chaos, like literally chaos. He is an agent of chaos. Carnage is, I'm going to kill you because it's funny. It's like, fuck you. You know what I mean? Get out of here, asshole. Whereas like Joker, it's like, okay, there's some shit going on up there. And like, when the right writer has him.
Joker is smarter.
Joker is terrifying. Whereas like Carnage is like, it's, you know what it is? It's like the difference between like a thriller movie and a hack and slash movie. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And it's like, I honestly am not into hack and slash films. Like, it's like, I prefer like, oh, the suspense, like, shit, what's going to happen? I don't know. Like, it's scary because like, you don't know what's going to happen. Whereas like, oh, this is just gore porn. That's literally what Carnage is. He's literally like gore porn.
That's true. But they haven't added the same sort of like psychological thriller aspect like into Carnage's character, but they've also done a lot. There was that series where like they went inside his head and he was
like I say, I almost tune out instantly. Like they do a series with Marvel right now called like Red, White, and Blood it's like Red, White, and Black or whatever. And they did one for Deadpool. They did one for Moon Knight and Wolverine, and they just finished up one for Carnage. And it's really cool. They print them in these like giant treasury sized edition. They're beautiful, like a little bit closer to the actual comic page. I buy all of them because like I love seeing like comic art blown up in a big way. Got the Wolverine one, I got the Deadpool one, I've got the blah blah blah. Carnage, I'm like, not buying Carnage. I just refuse to. I'm like, I refuse to give my money to that son of a bitch. You know what I mean? Like, I can't, I won't.
That's fair. Listen, I have a special place in my heart because of the Maximum Carnage series.
But that's different. That's different. Again, you're not glorifying him. You're making him a villain. It's like, hey, there's this force of energy out there, this force that's like fucking shit up, and we have to team up, Captain America and Firestar and Venom and Spidey, and we all got to go stop him. It's like, cool, that's great, that's fine. As a villain, fine, but to glorify him, to make him like an anti-hero or whatever.
Wait, they're making him into an anti-hero?
Trying to. They literally have like
that's.
Well, it's not anti, but it's like anytime you make, it's like, what's the point? It's like even like the most recent Joker series they just finished up because they're in the second one right now. But the first one is like it was basically a backdoor Jim Gordon pilot. It was like, oh no, this is Jim Gordon trying to track down the Joker who's on vacation right now. This is great. This is awesome.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. But now we got to get into the weird questions about them. Who would you trust to pet sit?
Joker.
Yeah?
Yeah, 100%. Because here's the thing.
You think Carnage is a little too kid with a
he would just
glass?
Yeah, he would 100% that. It's like you know for a fact that dog or cat or whatever you have is toast. It's going to be its spine ripped out, its entrails it's literally Silence of the Lambs, that sucker. Whereas like Joker, like you don't know.
He might dress it up.
He might just spray paint it. I'm like, okay, cool. Hey, I got out with the car wash.
Cool. Thank you for taking care of my pup.
Yeah, it's like
I don't know why it's these different colors, but I appreciate it.
Great, looks great. Love it.
Mutated it into some other kind of figure.
Yeah.
Who would do better as an influencer?
Joker.
Just because it's more charming person, I don't think you're going to give Carnage any.
No, but I mean, like seriously, like, do you think he has like the inkling? I'm going to get on my phone and tweet this out.
This is what I will say. Joker is going to do very highbrow things. Carnage is going to be Logan Paul.
So you're talking Mr. Beast versus Logan Paul then? I would go with Mr. Beast then at that point.
Yeah, I guess Mr. Beast is a good.
I mean, I'm not saying like Mr. Beast is a Joker, but you know what I mean. Like,
no, we're not. We didn't say that.
No, I mean, like, look again. Like, I think the problem is again, Carnage is very one-dimensional. I'm sure that the writers that are writing him are trying to add some more layers to him or whatever. But ultimately, he is very one-dimensional. He's a psychotic killer who gets pleasure out of just mutilating things and killing things, and that's what he does. He's a homicidal maniac. Yeah. Joker, on the other hand, it's like you don't know what he's going to do, and every once in a while, he does have a moment of clarity where he's just like. I mean, one of the best examples is The Killing Joke. While the book is kind of problematic in what it does to Batgirl and all that, there's some really great moments in it where it's like he just realizes, like, yep, this is never going to change between us. This is Batman. It's like, no, it's not. And they have like a moment of where like, yeah, but hey, and like that's what I'm saying. Like even like there's I think it was like the JLA arc with Grant Morrison. I think it's called Rock of Eternity. I want to say, and like they literally basically reprogram his brain, and he's like, oh, I'm crazy. Oh. You know, so it's like he can be self-aware enough. You know,
but I think that is a bad thing when it comes to being an influencer.
Oh, I'm not talking. I'm just talking about in general.
Well, that's our debate.
I still think as an influencer, I think Joker wins because he's gonna do. He also look how swank that is.
He is. But the thing is like. Imagine Carnage starting a stream. It's like, hey, what's up, douchebags? I'm gonna break a bunch of. I'm gonna cut a bunch of chickens.
I'm turning that off. I'm immediately turning that off.
You're turning it off, but that's not
true. I mean, you're right.
Cut a bunch of chickens' heads off.
There's a reason people like Andrew Tate. You know, like, I mean, I don't get it. Not for me. Not for me.
I think Joker wins in these matchups. Okay, so this is the next one I was talking to you about. That was what my proper answer to the Captain America versus Batman is. This is our billionaire heroes club.
Oh boy,
Iron Man versus Batman.
Okay, all right. What we got here?
Who wins?
Fight.
And you can't just say Batman because he always has a strategy.
Sure. Okay, well, who wins what?
A battle between the two of them.
Again, it comes down to Are they in a boardroom? They just like, hey, we got to fight right now? Or is this like, hey, we're going to meet up at this time and place in a week? And again, that's kind of the problem with all of these Batman fights. You give Batman enough time, he can defeat anybody. No problem, hands down. I'm sure on his utility belt, he's got a little EMP device that he could just set off, wipes out, knocks out Iron Man's armor, and then he just goes over and that's that. I win. What do you do? You're in an armor that's immobilized. You can't move.
Okay. You give them both a week.
Probably Batman, to be honest. Although, I don't know, man.
You don't think Tony Stark...
Stark is brilliant.
Tony Stark comes up with good plans.
I'm just talking... He does come up with good plans. The problem is Batman would do something really shitty, like start spiking his like kombucha with alcohol or whatever. He would do something really crappy. He would start prepping in advance. You know what I mean? Like, I hate to say it, but the way Batman has been written at this point, you give him any amount of time, he's going to win. If you put him in a 1-to-1 in that moment, it's a different situation. You know what I mean? But I think you over a long enough timeline and it's like the cat that falls off the roof. The higher up it is, the better has a chance of landing on its feet. Whereas, and that's kind of like Batman in that regard. He's like, you give him more time, you're asking for trouble. I will say Batman as well. And I'm only going to say Batman from the fact of like what we're talking about, which is he's willing to go farther than pretty much anybody. Well, his line is death. He will not kill anybody. That's where the line is drawn in the sand. He will not kill anybody.
Tony Stark doesn't kill people, though.
No, but people have probably died under his...
people have died under Batman.
Yes, but there's a difference. Like, that's like his hard line, you know what I mean? Like, whereas I think, like, Tony ultimately would be like... I mean, he built weapons of mass destruction. He was an arms dealer before he had his coming to God moment. You know what I mean? Like, so arguably, there is somewhere in him, it's like, hey, if I've got to make the hard call, like, if I've got to kill Batman to save my universe... He will do that, I think. I think Batman, on the other hand, would try and find a way not to do it.
So that's interesting because we've got Tony Stark willing to kill,
or maybe. Oh,
that's like I guess we got,
which is more than Yeah, he might have. Yeah, you're right. T.L. Sharpshooter. He might have done the one. I think it's the Warren Ellis run with the Extremes armor.
What are the extremes that we're going to go to?
Okay. Like I said, but I'm just saying, in a long enough, you give it a long enough timeline, Batman wins, and all right, that's just my. I mean, and that's just how he's been written. That's not even my take.
Now these are both in the Billionaire Boys Club.
Okay.
Who does a better job of reversing global warming?
Oh, probably Iron Man.
Yeah.
Well, first off, two things. Number one,
Batman's a brilliant strategist.
No.
Could he save the planet? No.
Because two things. He is a billionaire. Well, not anymore. Actually, he's a millionaire now. He lost all his billions. It's now under Lucius Fox has it all because during the Joker War, whatever. He's only a millionaire now. But even when he was a billionaire, he couldn't even stop crime in Gotham City.
Batman, ineffective in
that regard. And I mean that in the sense, like, you know how you stop crime? You invest in social programs. You know what I mean? Like, you start doing those kind of things. You know what I mean? Like, it's like ultimately, like, that's one of the reasons I think that they pushed him back to millionaire status, because everyone's like, bro, you realize you just start funding some libraries and building schools and all that stuff. Gotham City is all right. You know what I mean? Like, that's all you got to do. So you stop it at the source. And, instead he's like...
So Batman's too single focus.
Well, that's the problem. He's too... I am vengeance. I am Batman, Whereas I think Iron Man, on the other hand, is like, hey, he is trying to stop that kind of stuff. He is a little bit more of a philanthropist in that regard. Yeah, he's an arrogant asshole, but he also is smart. He has the money. And every time he loses all his money, he finds a way to get it back.
Now, do you think... Because... now I know that we have like Lucius Fox builds a lot of like Bruce Wayne's tech. There was a time where Bruce Wayne was building all his own tech.
Yeah, but I mean, I think he always had someone helping him out or whatever. Yeah.
So we know that.
Well, and to that regard, that's also feeds into the environmental thing where Batman's just like, oh, I know how to build a propelling gun.
Batman is a Republican, confirmed. I think he is.
I'm not going to say that.
Why? He's a made-up figure.
To you?
But no, but let's look at it.
Yes.
What are Bruce Wayne's economics?
Well, he does quote unquote invest in the city and all that kind of stuff. But it's like, if he truly wanted to stop crime, do you really trust him to save the environment? Whereas like Iron Man or Tony Stark has like the technical know-how. It's like, hey, I'm going to build this device that converts carbon into oxygen or whatever. Like, he could effectively get there. I think. You know what I mean?
Okay.
That would be my target. He also has access to a much better pantheon of like geniuses. You know what I mean? Like, hey, Reed, we're gonna work on this together, bro.
Sure,
cool, let's get on it.
Yeah, I mean, who could Batman turn to?
I mean, he's too arrogant though. That would be the problem. Tony's arrogant, but even he
think he can work some deal with Aquaman.
Aquaman would just be like, "Hey man, I have to deal with 7/10 of the planet. You deal with the other 3/10. I got a lot on my plate. Back off."
Yeah, he's like, Aquaman. I hope the world gets covered in water.
Exactly. No, I mean, like, look, as arrogant as Iron Man is, like, even he like recognizes that. You know, there's a great. I think Mark Waid wrote it. It's one point like he's talking to Hulk or Bruce Banner, and like he's like, "Yeah, we're gonna do this thing," and Hulk's like, "Yeah, I already did that." "Oh, well, we're gonna do this thing." He's like, "Yeah, I already did that too." "And we're gonna do this." He's like, "Yeah, I already did that." And it cuts to him and looking in the mirror. I'm still richer than him. He knows.
Yeah. He's got good people. Okay, now, bigger question, most important.
All right.
Out of these two, billionaire playboys.
All right.
Who's the better lover?
Oh, Iron Man, 100%. Not even a question. Not even a question.
Why?
2 reasons. 1, Batman never even sleeps. Like he's like the only reason he has women around usually is so he can be like, "Oh yeah, I had a woman over, so I wasn't out gallivanting at night fighting crime."
So Batman's still sort of like in junior high.
Yeah, I mean, he's married to Catwoman right now, and he's had a few lovers, you know, here and there. But overall, like,
but were they happy? Were they?
To be fair, he does have a kid. That's something I don't believe Iron Man has. You know, I mean, they seem like they're hung up on him, so maybe, but
you don't have to have skill to have a kid.
That's true. That is true. No, I would argue Iron Man, because Iron Man loves that lifestyle. He loves the party life. He loves being. I mean, that doesn't necessarily make him a good lover.
He could be a very selfish lover.
Very selfish lover. I don't think he is. That's just me.
Do you think Bruce Wayne relies too much on technique that he's picked up from?
I don't think he does anything. I think he when he was out training across the planet, he's got his okay, so let's meet the world's greatest lover, James Bond.
You don't think that he sees the person, gets to know them, strategizes all of their great.
I don't think he cares. Unless he's trying to. I don't think he cares. Like, he is too fixated on whatever. Whereas Iron Man's like, he loves life. He loves life. You know, why do you think he was an alcoholic? Because he loved life.
That's true, but I mean that might make him sloppy.
It might. But he doesn't drink anymore.
But Batman,
you got to take solace in something else.
Batman does it so few and far between.
Yeah.
That maybe he really puts a lot of work into the individual.
Maybe
moments.
He does, but look, this is
it's still Iron Man. I'm trying to give Batman something.
Look, I like Batman a lot. But if I'm being completely honest, it's just Iron Man. Literally, it's a mask that puts on the billionaire playboy. That is a mask that Batman puts on. You know what I mean? Whereas Iron Man, he is Tony Stark. He is the billionaire playboy. He lives that life. He has fun. He has women over all the time. Yeah. You know, I mean,
he's just got more experience.
And he clearly enjoys it. You know,
I think that's the biggest problem. I don't think Bruce Wayne's heart's in it.
It's not. It's not, man. Dude wants to. If he had his way, he's like, I would take a 24-hour pill to keep me up all night and fight crime. Look, I love Batman. It's just, and I like it when he lets his hair down every once in a while. But like, it's so few and far between.
All right, cool. These are great. This next matchup, this to me is the supers that I would like to see go head to head. The supers in the superhero space. Jean Grey versus Superman.
Okay. What's the question?
Who wins in a fight first?
So
I say Jean Grey.
I would probably,
and I say Jean Grey pretty easily too.
Well, she has telepathic powers, not just telekinetic, but telepathic powers. She could shut down Superman with a snap.
Do you think that if she immobilized him with her telekinetic powers, that he would be able to use his strength to kind of move around?
You know, it's a good
question. Or
is
his strength just sort of like?
I think it's God tier. He'd probably get past it, but I don't think he has any like psionic protection. Like, she would just shut his brain down. Like, she's not the world's greatest telepath. Like, that is kind of reserved for Xavier, but she's essentially his protege.
And now I'm not even talking about Phoenix.
Oh no, I'm talking about just Jean Grey.
Jean Grey.
Which is what I'm saying. She has psionic powers, which means she has the ability to like, hey, I'm going to shut your brain down. Oh, you're out. Yeah. It's like which is faster, the speed of Superman, faster than the speeding bullet, or the speed of thought? You know. That's the question. And again, Kind of comes down to, are they in a room together? Whatever. Blah, blah, blah.
Has Superman gone up against other like psionic beings?
Sure he has. I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but I'm sure he has, 100%. Like, I'm not to the point where I don't even know of an issue, and I can tell you yes.
I just haven't seen it.
It's happening.
Well,
and again, the problem. Superman has two weaknesses, arguably, kryptonite and magic. But psionics, I would argue, kind of fits into there as well.
Space,
a little bit. It's not magical, but it's like, it's thought control. And we've seen, actually, now I think about it, literally, Poison Ivy controls his brain. Like, she uses pheromones on plants to like control him. You know what I mean? So he is susceptible to mind control in that regard.
And he does some pretty bad damage when he is.
Like him and Batman's getting a fight right there.
They did that in Hush.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
So yes, I think. In that regard, I mean, again, it just depends on...
Superman's not so super, guys. He can get taken down pretty easily.
He can. Honestly, there's a lot of people who could beat Superman. Silver Surfer could probably easily beat him. He's got the power cosmic.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Yeah.
Thor could whip Superman's ass.
Really?
Oh,
why?
Two reasons. One, again, Thor has been a warrior for thousands of years.
Right.
And his powers are based in magic. That is one of Superman's weaknesses, is magic. It's like he would get decimated.
Well... Sure, she would win in a fight. Who would be a better kindergarten teacher?
I think Superman.
Yeah.
I think Superman.
Do you think it's because like he will relate to their level more? Or that he's too like
he's a Boy Scout.
Sugar.
He's a Boy Scout. He's a Boy Scout. He would he's the guy, if he had his way, he'd be just saving cats and trees all day if he could. You know what I mean? Like he loves to say, hey, I'm gonna sign an autograph for you, kid. Like he's that. Jean Grey is just like, we gotta protect mutants.
Right.
Where's Cyclops and Wolverine?
She's too serious. Like, he would love finger painting.
Yeah, she's not like a fun character in that regard. Like he would literally be doing finger paints and all that kind of stuff. Like literally, she was the Phoenix, and not her, a clone, whatever. But like an aspect of her like ate a planet of like 6 billion people at one point. You know what I mean? Like she's not really like puppy dogs and kitties. I just think Superman with his like Kansas upbringing and all that. He's just like, hey man. And honestly, we see a little bit of that too. Like, if you really want a good read, check out the Tomasi run that just ended a few years back, and it's him raising Jonathan Kent, his son. And it's just you see, just like he is so good with his son. Like I was actually so mad when they aged him up to teenager because I love seeing him be a dad to his son, and like, hey, we're going on a field trip to this prehistoric dinosaur island, and we're gonna go see dinosaurs. Like, that's awesome.
Do you think if Superman became a kindergarten teacher that he would give up his life of protecting the planet?
No, he couldn't. He has too much responsibility. Too much responsibility.
But in the breaks, maybe he doesn't write for the paper anymore.
Yeah, I think if he lost his powers, like he would be an excellent kindergarten teacher.
Yeah.
Because then he also wouldn't have that responsibility to have to keep going out.
It's pretty one-sided. I don't actually have a good reason of why Jean Grey would be.
She's just who
better.
She is. I like Jean Grey. I love the X-Men. X-Men are like my favorite comic, but it's like if I'm picking,
who would make a better president?
Oh, Soups.
Really?
Oh, 100%.
I disagree.
I think he, again, it kind of is like that Captain America thing where he inspires. He inspires the best in people. It was like, I'm just saying, like, one of my favorite panels, it was for an ad like from the 50s, I believe, and it's Superman, and it's an ad, but it was still like done by DC, and Superman is surrounded by a bunch of kids that are like multicultural, and he's like, look, it doesn't matter what you look like, it doesn't matter what you are, where you're from, we are all a land of immigrants essentially, and we all need to protect each other. And I see him as that, you know what I mean? Ultimately, he is the ultimate immigrant, you know what I mean?
But I see Superman, who has a very black and white version of like...
I'd rather have that sometimes. I'd rather have someone who's like, this is what we stand for.
Right, but that's not what your job as a president is. You have to make tough calls. And my vote for Jean Grey... is because there's a lot of time when the X-Men are in really dire situations. Sure. Scott Summers fails. And she's the one that steps forward and is like, this is the one we got to do.
Yeah, sure. But Superman finds a way. He's like life. Life finds a way. He finds a way.
Does he?
He does. He always does.
Does he not in ways that are just like about strength?
No.
And perseverance.
It's I hate to use this example because I don't think it's a very good comic. It was a miniseries by Tom King a few years back, and in it they do a race between Flash and Superman, who's the fastest. And basically, like Lex Luthor places a bet that if Superman wins, which he can't because Flash is faster than Superman, he'll like fund this like orphanage or whatever. And at the end of the thing, like Flash is just dogging him, just beating him, and it ends with Superman winning. Why? And the rationale is because Superman always finds a way. He finds a way to win.
Well, let's look at it in the very real reality of the world we're in.
Look, if I had
Speaker of the House,
I don't want to get
how would, if Superman had to sort of like...
Could he be president, though, because he wasn't born in the United States?
No, somebody brought that up, but we're imagining that he's a full citizen. Superman is dealing with having to get all these people. Now, he's a good leader.
Yeah.
But you're talking about the politicians that exist on our planet currently today.
I think he would inspire the people enough that there would be letter writing campaigns into those offices that flood those offices with, so much shit that they would just be like, man, we got our constituents pissed at us.
I think Gene could just go vote this way.
Yeah, you're right in that regard. But is that what we want? That's just a fascist dictatorship at that point.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just being honest. It's like, it's like that's why Xavier doesn't do that or at least shouldn't be doing that. He's like,
right.
He doesn't say he doesn't. And that's why I say, as a president, like, do you want someone who's like their version, is reality now? Whereas Superman's like, hey, I'm going to stand for this. This is what I believe in, and I will inspire the people to follow me on this path.
But I think that Jean Grey still has that sort of like core good people value to her.
She killed 6 billion people.
She
because she was hungry. Because she was hungry.
She did. That was a tough time. Everyone's got a dark side to them, working through some things. I don't know.
I'm just being honest. Like if I had to pick, if I had my druthers, I would absolutely put a vote in for Superman, Kal-El, Clark Kent, whatever you want to call him.
See, if we were doing this, I would vote Jean Grey.
Fair. Hey, man. So that's what's great about a democracy.
That's what's great.
Unless she's mind controlling you to think that.
Whatever. I applaud her skill in doing so.
The problem is I don't know if her psionic powers could reach to that vast of a level.
We got a tie here because Jean Grey won the first thing, Superman won the second thing, and we're split.
We're split on that one.
We're split on that one.
Should give it to the chat. Let them pick.
Okay. This next one, we got some badass strategy chicks coming down your way. You ready?
Sure.
We have Black Widow versus Catwoman. Ooh.
Okay.
These two have pulled off some amazing feats.
Oh yeah.
Heists, crazy things. How would they go battling each other?
I think Black Widow wins.
Just the training?
Just the training. She's an assassin. Catwoman, as awesome as she is, she's a cat burglar with like acrobatics. Black Widow has essentially not Spider-Man powers, but she has like, she has like her little blasts, her widow blast. She has like her little repelling thing. I mean, she's an assassin. She's espionage, like disguises. You name it.
TL Sharpshooter says Black Widow was 100 years old.
Yeah. So
what?
So technically, she was not in World War. She was, I don't know if she's 100 years old, but she was definitely around World War II when Wolverine and Captain America were around. Because there's an I think it's an X-Men comic. I think it's a 240.
She's not just a human?
Well, she's like, I'm sure she has like a serum or something like that, aged her. Like it's kind of like Nick Fury, the original Nick Fury. He takes the Infinity Serum. That's why he's been around since World War II, and he still like looks like, even though he's got the green temples, it's like, I'm sure it's something like that. She has
a serum.
Yeah. Okay. But that being said, like even if you're gonna move like the aging serum out of there, like she has been trained by the baddest of badasses. Like it's. Though the mythology is like when you find out a widow is coming for you, you run because that's your only chance to win. Catwoman's like, okay, I'm literally gonna get whipped in the nuts. It's gonna hurt, and she has done that.
Her one power.
She has done that, or kick people in the nuts. Like she has no problem doing that. She'll fight dirty, and she will win in that regard. But Black Widow, I think, just hands down as a combatant, she is trained to kill. Whereas like Catwoman's like, hey, I'm here.
Okay, who would win the Amazing Race?
Probably Black Widow.
Yeah?
Again, she's got languages.
Contacts.
All that stuff. She is a world traveler, whereas like I'm sure Catwoman has her contacts here and there, but mostly she's stuck in Gotham City. Whereas like Black Widow, man, she knows the world. She can speak languages.
I feel like they've fleshed out more with Catwoman, amping up a little bit more of her skill level.
They have
over the years.
I'm sure they have. I mean, like if you really want to read a fun run, read Brubaker's run that he did with Darwin Cook back in like the mid 2000s. Great, really fun book. Yeah. But again, she's a cat burglar. She's a cat burglar in Gotham City. Black Widow is an international assassin.
I think Catwoman.
She also
in the game arena.
Sure.
This IG818 says Catwoman can steal all the notes to get the checkpoints first.
That's true. But I mean, you could argue that Black Widow would do something like that, or she'd have her contacts help steal them. I mean, like that's what I'm saying. Like she's on such an equal level.
More strategy.
Yeah, I would just say that Black Widow is not a dum-dum. Yeah.
Okay. Who would be a better small business owner?
Oh, probably Catwoman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just because of her skills as a cat burglar.
Well, it's like she knows how to fence things. She's like, hey, I know where the market value is on these kind of things. Yeah. Like, like she starts up like her own little like,
What kind of business would Black Widow start? Probably. Not an assassination.
Oh, no. Yeah, outside of that. She starts up an Etsy shop. She does little wood carvings of ducks. I don't know. I mean, she opens a
I think that she repurposes the technology that she has and sells those.
Yeah, she could. But I mean, like, I think that, they did a really cool, I think Kelly Thompson wrote it, I want to say. It was just a few issues back where she gets her mind, not erased, but she thinks that she's like married and she has a kid and she's living in the suburbs. And in it, she becomes like essentially like an architect. She's like, yeah, I'm going to help build buildings. I'm cool with that.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, I mean, like maybe that's what she does. Yeah.
Man, I thought Catwoman was going to do a lot better.
Catwoman's great.
That's okay.
But I do think that the edge goes to Black Widow.
That's okay. These two I definitely like. These are our strong women.
Oh yeah. Like I said, if you want to
Wonder Woman versus She-Hulk.
What are you doing to me?
Wonder Woman throwing punches versus She-Hulk. Who's the strongest is?
Wonder Woman. Period.
What?
Hands down. Yeah, Wonder Woman wins. She's the god or goddess. She also has the ability to pick up Mjolnir.
Yeah.
Only they who are worthy may pick up the hammer.
She-Hulk can't pick up the hammer?
I don't think She-Hulk's ever picked up the hammer. I think she is a better lawyer. I think
she's a better lawyer. She is a better lawyer. She's the only one that is a lawyer.
Her outfits are fire.
Yeah.
I mean, I absolutely love She-Hulk. Like she is one of my favorite characters. Is
she stronger than Wonder Woman in canon?
Isn't
she stronger than Hulk?
No. It's like if Hulk is a 7, She-Hulk's a 6.
Huh.
Yeah. Like Superman and Hulk are about equal. Like, thing is, like Hulk theoretically grows proportion as he gets angrier. Right. That's the problem. Is he gets stronger and stronger and stronger. She-Hulk, she can get super strong, but overall she's just really strong.
We have Starry Nightwing says She-Hulk is connected to the one below all.
Yeah.
Does that help at all?
No, I still think that Wonder Woman wins. The problem is...
What is their connection?
What do you mean? Well, it's the whole Immortal Hulk.
Oh, yeah, there's the whole, like,
Immortal
Gamma
Hulk.
Came from this dimension.
It's a whole thing. It's a lot. It's a whole thing. I just think that Wonder Woman, she, again, if you want to get into the whole thing, it's like, again, age. She has been trained on Themyscira. She's trained by warriors and Amazonians. She knows combat. She also is... honestly, they're comparable in size. I think She-Hulk might be a little bit bigger, but Wonder Woman is not a small woman.
Right.
She is
she's an Amazon.
And she can F stuff up. The fact that she can go toe-to-toe with Superman, legitimately, that kind of shows you what power level she has.
Okay.
She also has the golden lasso. She has the invisible plane. She's got the bracelets.
All right.
I'm just saying, like...
So, in a fight, yes, but...
Yes, in a fight.
Who is going to be a better home renovator? Got their own home renovation business.
I think She-Hulk.
Yeah?
I think She-Hulk. I mean, like, if we're going to just go again, for the most part, Wonder Woman's outfits have kind of remained the same. So is She-Hulk. She has kind of like the leotard, with the green and the white, or the purple and the white. But like, if you like look at some of her outfits that she wears, just as look at the Jen Bartel covers right now. Actually, if you got a chance, go look at the Jen Bartel She-Hulk covers. Her outfits are, like I said, fire. You know what I mean?
But what does that have to do with renovating homes?
Well, I think that, she knows how to how things look cosmetically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
I think that also she would revel in just, we're gonna knock this wall down.
Yeah,
she holds smash.
It's not just that they're home renovators; they have their own home renovation TV
I think
show.
she would just enjoy, and that's the other thing. She would play to the camera. She would play to the camera so much better.
She would have a more successful show.
Yes, I think Wonder Woman as a character, she's an ambassador. She's a mother figure, but I don't see her taking seriously. Hey, we're gonna renovate this house. She's like, what? Just knock it over. Let's go. Come on, we got shit to do. You know what I mean? Whereas She-Hulk's hey, she's also an entrepreneur. In the sense that she's a lawyer. So she's hey, it's about that green.
Yeah, I mean,
literally and figuratively.
Wonder Woman is great for a cozy Mediterranean vibe. Yeah, I think Wonder Woman would be too influenced by the structures and the aesthetics that she knew.
Well, that's the problem.
However, Wonder Woman has seen more of history and has more experience. She's seen a lot of different rugs from different places.
Absolutely,
she might go, this room would be tied together with this one rug I saw in 1912.
Yeah, but you know what it comes down to again? It's that Tony Stark thing where it's She-Hulk likes to party and she loves a good look, and you know what I mean?
Okay, yeah, that's true.
I'm just saying, she would have fun and she would just be hey, what's what we're gonna do? We're gonna blow this wall out, and I'm just gonna take care of it right now for you.
I think Wonder Woman would have a This Old House kind of vibe.
Yeah. Yes.
And I think She-Hulk would be a more modern.
She would. It again. It's what do you prefer? Do you prefer ancient Europe, or do you prefer New York metro? Modern metro New York. You know what I mean? What are you looking for?
More modern, more rustic.
I'm gonna always side with She-Hulk for the most part. I love her as a character.
Okay,
she's one of my favorite characters.
Last one for these two. No one's allowed to fly. Okay. Who's the better football player?
Soccer or football or
no, American football.
American football. I'm gonna lean towards She-Hulk, but I have no reason why, and it's just because I like She-Hulk. But I think that it's a fair question. I think they're on equal footing, but I'm gonna lean towards She-Hulk just because I like her.
Yeah,
I mean, I think it just comes down to preference. Yeah, don't get me wrong. I do like Wonder Woman as well.
No, I'm trying to imagine them on the field.
I also see the issue being, She-Hulk, if she does lose control, you're going to be in a world of hurt. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think She-Hulk is going to get more into it. And I think that
she's
for me,
more fun.
She's going to have more fun.
Yes.
I think Wonder Woman's going to get too in her head about it.
Yeah, too serious.
And, because we got to imagine they're running the ball.
Yeah.
Both of them are fullbacks.
It's the unstoppable force.
Yeah. And they're playing both sides. It's them with a team versus each other.
Yeah.
How are they not killing other people?
They are. They're I feel. Oh no, people are dead.
Okay, so then it is. It's a team of Wonder Women versus a team of She-Hulks.
People are still dying.
11 on 11.
People are still dying. I still think. I mean, again, this just comes down to personal preference. I think. I mean, honestly, if you're really going to get serious about it, probably Wonder Woman, just because of the immortal angle. She's probably stronger. Like I said, she can go toe to toe with Superman. She's ultimately gonna,
I think that Wonder Woman not being able to fly, and because She-Hulk can't fly, she'll do things where she'll throw to herself and jump crazy high.
Well, the thing is, she does have a, not super speed, but she is faster than She-Hulk in that regard. So she could literally throw the ball, run around, catch it, touchdown. I just think that She-Hulk would have more fun. But I mean, if we're gonna be honest, it's probably gonna be Wonder Woman. I like She-Hulk. I'm not gonna lie, I like She-Hulk.
All right.
I like her.
I think Wonder Woman wins this matchup.
She probably does. She does as much as I love She-Hulk.
We have one last one. Okay. Last matchup of the day.
I'm curious what this is.
Thank you all for joining. These are the generals that we've seen.
The generals, okay.
In the Marvel and DC space.
Okay.
Amanda Waller, Nick
versus
Fury.
New Nick Fury, not old Nick Fury.
I know. New Nick Fury.
Oh, Amanda Waller.
Really? Why?
Yeah.
Just because she's more ruthless?
She's more ruthless. And
I think Nick Fury has been infinitely more successful than Amanda Waller.
If you put up Nick Fury Sr., it might be a different story. Nick Fury Jr., though, he's a little too young. He's still young around the gills. He's still learning. I think Amanda Waller is ruthless. She has no problem exterminating people She has no problem killing people.
But what is her track record in terms of wins?
I'm not talking about track record. I'm talking about she's so villainized at this point that she has to lose all the time at this point. She is like not even an anti-hero. She's almost just like a villain within the DC universe. But I'm thinking like if you were to like remove like sort of the canonical stuff, like, oh yeah, she lost because she has to lose.
Yeah.
No, which it's not to say she loses all the time. In fact, they just did like it was like War on Earth 3, I think.
And by the way, I may have just picked the wrong. Let's just go with whatever the older version of Nick Fury is.
Oh, you mean the Nick Fury Jr., the dad, with the grain temples and all that? Because this is like they basically retconned Nick Fury to look more like Sam Jackson because of the movies. This is the direct example of the movies now influencing the comics.
Yeah.
This version of Nick Fury is just too young. He's still learning the ropes. He's still kind of green behind the ears, all that kind of stuff. Whereas his dad has been around since, again, World War II. You know, like World War II.
Right.
I mean, his dad literally the reason he lost his eye was like he gets a hit with like basically shrapnel. Like, hey, we're gonna have to get you out of the war for a year so we can fix your eye. He's like, fuck that. Pull it out. Put an eye patch on. Back in. Like that's what he was like. That was Nick Fury's dad. Like, all right, we're back.
And you don't think that that's gonna give him the edge in this battle?
It depends. Like I said,
because Amanda Waller is willing to throw people under the bus.
She's not willing to blow people's heads off.
She's not willing to throw herself under the bus.
No, she never puts herself in that situation. She'll never end up like that. Or if she does, she'll find a way out of it. So there's a reason she always ends up back in charge. You know, whereas Nick Fury, honestly, some of Nick Fury's track record is bad. You know, like S.H.I.E.L.D. doesn't.
No, he's lost quite a bit too.
You know, I like Nick Fury a lot.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay.
But potato.
All right. Now, which of these two?
Okay.
Would run a better summer camp?
Oh wow! Ooh.
More fun. Kids are safe.
Nick.
Learning all kinds of.
I see like Amanda Waller, just like I can see her like, yeah, you know what? Let's put these kids through their paces. Like,
now, I'm not saying that they wouldn't turn the summer camp into some sort of training experience for.
I think Nick Fury. I mean, like the problem is Amanda Waller is just a little too sinister. You know what I mean? Like she has ulterior motives. Yes, she always says, just in case, we got to make sure that we have something to fight Superman with. Whereas like Nick Fury never has that. He's like, no, we're here to stop Nazis. Great.
What activities would be at Nick Fury summer camp?
Oh, definitely water sports. Yeah. He has a single goggle though. Yeah, I think he'd be doing like sports. I think it'd be a lot of like World War II style training. Hey, we're gonna dig some ditches. We're gonna climb under ropes. You know, all that kind of stuff. Whereas like she would have them like in classes, like behind computers, learning how to hack and shit like that.
She would make them into drones.
Yeah, I just don't think she's all about the end game. Whereas I think Nick Fury is in the moment.
Okay. This is the last and ultimate question that we have to debate. Nick Fury, Amanda Waller. Which one of these two could have made G4 successful?
Who?
I
think we're allowed to actually talk about it now.
Who saves the day?
I think Amanda Waller, to be honest. I think
really?
I think she's sinister enough that she's like, look, we have an end game we've got to get to. Whereas I think
she would have done whatever it took.
I think she would have. And I think she would have also like looked at it like, hey, this is what our objective is. Let's get to it. Whereas Nick is like just kind of, I would say that Nick's a little bit more reactionary, whereas I think she's a little bit more assertive in that regard. I think Nick would have been like, shit, this thing's happening. We got to adjust to that. This thing's happening. We got to adjust to that. You know what I mean? Whereas I think, and also like S.H.I.E.L.D. doesn't even really exist anymore. Like,
S.H.I.E.L.D. also went under.
Yeah. So like, Amanda always comes up on top. It's like James Cameron. You don't bet against Amanda Waller. You know what I mean? You don't bet against James Cameron. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but who is going to provide the entertainment value that?
Oh, I'm not talking about. I'm just saying.
You asked the generation.
I said G4 survives. She does it. Will it be good? Will people like it? That's a different question.
So you're saying it would stay on the air, but nobody would be watching it,
or people would be watching because they're forced to. So, hey, everybody, you've got a bomb in your head, and if you don't watch this channel, it's going to explode your face.
Or she's just fudging the numbers.
She might be, but it doesn't matter. It's all in the air.
But she doesn't focus on making
She's about the end game.
Good.
She is about the end game. I think Nick Fury cares about how we get there. I think she just cares about the end game. She doesn't care how we get there. You know what I mean? I think you probably have more fun with Nick Fury.
That's what it would have taken.
I think Nick Fury would have had more fun. I think she would like ultimately. I'd still have a paycheck, and we wouldn't be here right now.
Oh man. Well, there you have it, folks. Those are some of our our wins and our battles. Man, this was great. I love just talking nonsense with you.
It's so much fun.